everyone, about to go do some under ice beaver trapping. I just wanted to show you what I grabbed from the shop before I go out. I'm only setting one lodge, so there's a couple lodges on this kind of pond lake, but I only want to set one of them, save the rest for spring beaver. But basically what I take is I take a chainsaw. Not always, sometimes I take the axe through the ice, but it's a pain in the butt. Take a split and maul. You can use an axe chisel. This is just what I have. It works really good for busting through and checking out, ice depth. Take all the poles I need, generally like at least 2 per 330. That way I can do an H stand or I can use one as a swivel stick. Setters, tie wire. I'm taking a foothold because I'm going to do a foothold trap. Pliers, whatever you like. I do take a split maul in case I need to bust through some certain areas. These 2 poles are just cool poles that I use for bait sticks with snares if I have that, and then my snares and sled. And that's all you need. So see you there. We're out here at this beaver lodge today, and the first thing that we like to do is find the runs. And how you check for that is you just look for the thickness of ice. So where beaver is running, it's going to be pretty thin compared to everything else. Hey Dad, can you hand me that yeah. So the way you judge this is, see, like right here, solid, solid, a little bit more solid, and then right here where we broke through, it just wants to slide right into the water there. So basically you just do that until you find the edge of the run, get that all shoveled, moved out of the way, and then you can move on to the next step. So we'll get this done, taken care of. Okay guys, so we got it all cleaned out. The next thing you got to do is you got to determine exactly where the run is. To do that, use a little bit smaller pole. Beaver runs, they're going to be in kind of a U shape. So I just go down, there's the bottom. It's pretty firm actually. So if you can see the height of the stick, there's the bottom there. Then that gets a little bit deeper. That's a little bit deeper right there. That's a little bit deeper. This is a pretty wide beaver run. There's the edge of the run right there. So I can tell it's a pretty large U, and that's a soft silt right there. So all I'm gonna do with this beaver run is that I'm actually gonna use a 12/16 because it's such a large run, which is actually bigger than a 330. And it's this one right here. So that's a nice large trap to catch a beaver in. And I'm gonna do an H stand, which is poles coming down each sides. And I'll set this down in the run, and then I'll use these guide sticks on each side to funnel them into the center of that beaver run. Now this one, it has a really silty, soft bottom. And if they were coming directly on the bottom, it would most likely be pretty hard, kind of like these sides. So I think they're coming just about a foot up off the water, kind of in the center. So I'm probably gonna hold this trap probably about 6 to 8 inches off the bottom, and then I'll put another stick up top when I make my H stand. So I'll get this ready, I'll show you guys it, and we'll throw it in and be on to the next set. So this is how I make the H stands, guys. I just determine my water depth, where I want my trap, how deep these are going to stick down in the mud, wire it on the bottom, stick them up through the sides of your trap. I like wiring it off here just to hold it while I'm working with it. Pull your poles up, squeeze them in tight, wire them off again, and now keep tension on those sides, hold that trap from turning and sliding. It's pretty neat. I mean, they make the metal ones, but why spend money when you can make one in just a couple minutes? So that's about that. All I got to do now is just, where's my chain at? Bring this up, wire it up above the surface. So what I like to do, guys, is just wire this off to a nice big fat chunk of wood, like I was saying in my other video on getting poles, get nice 5-foot chunks. Then you can lay this across the ice up here That way if they do chew through that pole, your trap is still attached. So make sure safeties are off. Good. Okay. Oh. Get that up around. Just gonna bring this on up. So we already have the finished product. I wired it off to that cross stick just to keep it, you're hitting the spring. Just to keep it stable left and right. Put guide sticks in on each side. And if they come out this hole, hopefully we'll get one. So we're cutting some bait sticks.
You want this for bait?
No. So, for the snare poles, you can just attach bait to poles, but what works really nice is if your pole that's holding the snares is itself a bait stick. And then you don't have to wire stuff on. You can green it up, it's a larger attractant. I just like it better, and we got enough here for me to make 2 snare poles out of it. So that's what we're gonna do, and I'll show you once we get the snares hooked in and we get it on the ice what it looks like. We're gonna do some under ice snaring, and their feed pile is out front, but it's pretty much gone. And the water depth's really shallow. The only run they got is out the back of the lodge here. So I think they're coming out and they're either circling around or they're going back and they're digging onto the roots. And there's actually some open water over there. They might be coming out. I'm not sure, but I know they're coming out the back here, so I'm gonna do some snare poles. Now your snare poles can be anywhere from 1 to 3 tiers of snares. And on this one, you can see that the ground's right there, and I got about 6 inches of ice. So I'm only gonna do 1 snare set. And I'm gonna do it off of these bait sticks. So I can see, okay, my water level, it's probably around here. Once I shove it in the dirt about there. So what you do is you have a snare on each side coming off, and you green this up. And as the beavers swim around in a circle to come get the bait stick, they get caught in a snare. Snare them, you have it wired up to a log running across the ice up top, and that's it. They're pretty simple. The only downside of under icing is, like, I have to check these tomorrow because I'm taking off for school. So, you know, with you pounding on the ice, they might get a little freaked out and stay inside their lodge. But if you got time to check your traps, these sets, I mean, they're a lot of work compared to spring trapping, but they get the job done. So I'll get this all set up and then I'll show you the finished product. This is the finished product here. This is pretty shallow water, so I only have 1 tier, but basically it's my bait pole. I got it greened up. I'm gonna shove it into the ground to about that deep. So this is what they're gonna be coming for. And that snare set up in my videos on how to make, I got these snares right here, so I just wire it off. I don't have to do any wiring with tie wire or anything. Just wrap these around the pole, and then just take this, set it right down the middle, and watch your snares. You got any ice chunks and stuff, that it don't set them off. Then I'll just place it right in the bottom, just like that. Grab my chunk that I'm gonna tie these off to. And that's it. Now I'm gonna take some tie wire and actually secure that onto that pole, but that's all you gotta do. It's pretty simple. A little change from yesterday. It's about mid-20s yesterday, and about, well, it was -4 probably about half an hour ago, so I'm sure it's hovering between -4 and 0 out right now. So last night when we put these in, we shoveled snow on it, what that does is we only have about ½ an inch of ice built up right here. It helps insulate everything in. So this is the first snare, and looks like nothing on that one. I don't see any chews. So let's hammer out this next one real quick. Nope. Nothing on that snare pole either. So just got the 330 left. Oh, look at that. That is a younger beaver, you know, probably right at about a 2-year-old. Would have got kicked out this spring, but I am not picky when it comes to beavers. Now this one was coming back in the lodge, which means, see, his head's this way, he was coming back in, meaning they got either another run coming out or he skated by, but that means there's still some nice adults in here and got some more weekends for under ice and get a couple more beavers out of this lodge. And now I know this run can track down the other runs, so get this beaver out and get on our merry way. One last trick with this under icing, guys, when you got this nice fluffy white snow around, take the beaver, and this works with muskrat too, and you know, anything when they're wet. Take them, rub that snow down in their fur, and it just dries them right out. Now he's got a little bit of ice on his head from when he came up, but look at that. See how nice and dry he is? He's got a little bit of ice areas, but it'll keep him from freezing anything on our way back. Now, if you do have big ice chunks on your fur, I mean, if they're really big, you know, you can break them up a little bit. Don't try and pull them or rip them out or anything, because you'll just take the guard hairs right with it. So just do this, and if there is frozen ice on them, just leave it. Let them thaw out on their own, and you won't damage the pelt at all. So that's about it. Till next time, guys.